Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about two sensitivities without handouts actually. Two sensitivities, they are nose sensitivity and tongue sensitivity. So far we have discussed about three vatturupas, that is to say the heart base, eye sensitivity and ear sensitivity. Since the tongue and nose sensitivities share very similar traits, characteristics, it is quite easy to discuss them together. Both of them are productions of karma, produced by the karma, affected by the relevant craving. Karma affected by the craving to smell produces nose sensitivity, while the karma affected by the taste, craving to taste, would produce tongue sensitivity. And also all the other traits that are found in these are very similar to that of ear sensitivity and eye sensitivity. Their way of production and the kalapas they are in and their generations all are very similar. Mostly redundant explanations would come because we have already explained them in two lectures. Nose sensitivity, Ghānappasāda and Jivhāppasāda. Ghānappasāda and Jivhāppasāda. Nose sensitivity and tongue sensitivity. They are all, both of them. Now the formula for Kammajarupa is any Kammajarupa, right? We can have a formula, the craving affecting the karma, producing karma, that karma producing the Kammaja Rupa. This is the formula. So you can add anything. If this Kammaja Rupa is nose sensitivity, still it is, if the karma is producing, affect what sort of craving? The craving to smell. If this is the tongue sensitivity, the craving would be craving to taste. This is the main formula, right? Or for all the Kammaja Rupas. If this was Hadevattu, or all the Vattu Rupas, the craving would be craving for the consciousness, to have the experience. Because we have an experience for the craving for the nama, craving to see the objects or experience the objects, whether it's mind or five sense door or mind door, it doesn't matter. Then that karma is responsible for producing consciousness. As consciousness cannot sustain by itself in the five aggregate realm, Panchavokara, it has to produce the relevant Vatturupa. So if this is Vatturupa, craving would be craving for consciousness. If this is Jivitendriya, craving for living, or also craving for Rūpa. Craving for Rūpa and craving for living. Because Jivitendriya is necessary for living. And if someone has suppressed that craving for Rūpa, because we discussed about this matter, craving for living cannot be suppressed like other cravings. So therefore, always it can only be eradicated by Arahatta path, Arahatta Magga. Either we can suppress the craving for Nama or craving for Rūpa, not both together as well. So someone always possesses the craving for living. You can always add craving for living is a fundamental reason for all the Kammaja Rupas in one way or another. Craving for living. So Jivitendriya arises, every Kammaja Rupa now, craving for taste is responsible for the Jivhāppasāda. At the same time, craving for living is also responsible. Because craving for living is the fundamental reason for any Nama Rupa to occur in the next life. but we don't need to express that. For example, in Parajika, first Parajika of the monks, there is a sub-panyati. Sub-panyati means a sort of partial promulgation saying sikkang apachakkaya dubbalyang anavikatva. Without relinquish all the, now first Parajika, one commits first Parajika of having sex with someone if he has not relinquished the upasampada. If he had relinquished it, if he had given up the upasampada, the virtue that he was following, even though he had sex with someone, he is not committing Parajika because he is not a monk anymore. This subsection that was added to the first Parajika, commentary says it is valid to all the rules. This Anupanyati is not only for the first Parajika, it is Anupanyati promulgated for entire Vinaya Pitaka, because one monk commits offences as long as he is a monk. If he has given up the Upasampada, none of the rules are valid for him. Right? But we do not apply this. When we are teaching, we do not say that this subsection is, we do not, when we teach the students the Vinaya rules, we do not mention it as a sub-rule of all the other rules. It is only mentioned about regarding to the first Parajika. So likewise, craving for living is valid for every Kamajarupa, for every Nama. Every Nama and every Kamajarupa is, the craving for living is responsible. Though this is, when it comes to Jivhāppasāda, tongue sensitivity, we may only emphasize on the craving for taste. But we have to understand craving for living is also under beneath that, right? So when if it was Jivitindriya, craving for Rūpa is prominent, but at the same time it's much better to say craving for living is also effect in that. So whenever you get a Kamaja Rūpa, now Bhava Rūpa, what is the craving? Sexual craving, sexual desire. So into this formula you can add any Kamaja Rūpa and mention what is the craving that is relevant. Even for the Bhava Rūpa, craving for living is also affecting, right? Because if you have eradicated craving for living, there cannot be any craving for sex. So I hope you got this. Now this is the formula for every Kamaja Rūpa that we give. Now regarding the other traits, Ghānappasāda arise in Ghāna Dasaka Kalapa. Ghana Dasaka Kalapa means group of 10 material clusters together with Ghānappasāda. They contain Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa and Oja. Then we have Jivitindriya as a Kamaja Kalapa and GP Ghānappasāda. Ghānappasāda. Then for the Jivha Dasaka Kalapa, we have Jivhāppasāda is found in Jivha Dasaka Kalapa. It contains Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja, Jivitindriya and Jivhāppasāda. Right. Vayo we can write VY even. Vayo. Right. These are the 10 Rūpa. So they are different because of this particular Rūpa. The explanation is Ghānappasāda is the sensitivity depending on the 4 great elements that are produced by a karma affected by the craving for smelling. Jivhāppasāda is the sensitivity depending, not the sensitivity of, sensitivity depending on the 4 great elements produced by a karma that has been affected by the craving to taste. So this is the explanation. Then these kalapas arise in generations. This is called Ghana Santati. Ghana Santati. And Jiva Dasaka Kalapas also arise in generations. They are called Jivha Santati. They are called Jivha Santati. And Jivha Dasaka Kalapa, Ghana Dasaka Kalapa is found in two locations, in the two nostrils. Both are produced by the same karma. Jivha Kalapa is found in the middle of the tongue, it says. Now, the difference is the Sasambhara Ghana is the nose that we have. Sensitivity is something inside. Sasambhara Jiva is the flesh tongue we possess, and the sensitivity is the Jivhāppasāda. It is mentioned Jivhāppasāda is found in the tongue. I don't know whether how accurate this is. If this is the tongue, okay, I hope that is a good tongue. It is found at the a lotus petal. Normally a lotus petal is like this, right? Lotus petal. The petal of a lotus, right? This malpeti, right? So half of a lotus petal cut off. So like a heart, something like that. It's found in somewhere like this. All right. I'm not, because according to the modern findings, the taste buds are found everywhere in the tongue, right? So this is how the commentary says. Maybe this is the place where the excessive jiva is found. Maybe, all right? Because more sensitive. These areas may be more sensitive. I'm not sure about the scientific findings about this. I haven't gone through. I went through them once, but I'm not I cannot remember all the information. I'll just stick to the tradition and say what the tradition says. Then the Ghānappasāda is said to be of a hoof. Hoof, no? How do you call the edge of the foot of a cow or something? H-O-V-E, something like that. Hoof. You can check in the dictionary. Hoof, that the bottom part of a certain animal. So the animal is goat hoof. I don't know what shape it is, so sorry for that. So it has a shape of a goat hoof in the nose. Is it correct, the spellings? H-O. Anyway, during the Q&A session, someone can correct us. Elukuraya in Sinhalese we call elukura. Then we have already discussed about. They are very similar in terms of the natures with regard related to the Chakra and Sota even. And there are few occasions in which these these sensitivities, we may not get these sensitivities. There are few occasions in which we may not get these sensitivities. Remember in the Asanya Satta, where the consciousness is not present, there is no necessity of a Vattu Rūpa, a base. Then in the Arupa realm, there is no Rūpa at all. So therefore, no room for Kamaja Rūpas to arise. Then in the Brahma realm, the Rūpavachara Brahma realm, Rupi Brahma, Asanya Satta also includes in the Rupi Brahma, but the remaining 15, in them we found eye and ear sensitivities, but nose, tongue and body sensitivities are not found here. We shall be discussing about the body sensitivity in next week. Rupi Brahmas do possess, it doesn't mean that they don't have a nose. They do have a nose according to the literature, but they don't have the sensitivity. They do have a tongue. I don't know from what it is made out of, but it should not be flesh, right? So, but it doesn't contain the sensitivity. So when we say Brahmas do not have the sensitivity, don't imagine of a person without a nose or without a tongue, right? So it's only that they are lacking the sensitivities. The reason is the nose, tongue and body sensitivities are not directly related to wholesome deeds. Now think about a wholesome deed that you do, that you cannot do if you don't possess the nose. This is for sensual pleasures. This nose is to enjoy something. Now, how about the tongue sensitivity? Is there any special merit that you do with tongue? No, if someone offers you, you eat it. The monks will eat it. It's not the monks are doing a merit by receiving the stuff. It's the donor who donates. So we are eating it. We don't do any kusala by eating it. Easily we can get akusala by craving for the taste, right? So therefore these sensitivities and tongue, body sensitivity, body sensitivity, one can argue that they are somewhat related, because when you are helping someone or supporting someone or with the body, but it's not the sensitivity that is helping, it's the physical body that helps. It's the physical body, not the sensitivity, because we know that the postures of the body are understood by our brain or by our mind through a different phenomenon. It's not the sensitivity. There's a different part in the brain that makes you to understand where your body limbs are located, right? It's not the sensitivity that is responsible to keep our postures properly, because we feel our body is in a certain space. Sometimes when we lose the sensitivity, when they are numb, we will not be able to locate them, but actually the location comes with a different process in the mind, not the the senses that touches that we feel through our body. We shall be discussing them about them in the next week. Now, Rupi Brahmas do possess eye and ear, because eye and ear are very useful to wholesome deeds, but ear, tongue and nose, tongue and body sensitivities are not that much related with the wholesome deeds. So therefore they are lacking, because in order to attain the Rupi Brahma realm, one has to have jhana in the previous, have to have jhana in the previous life, have to have attained jhana. If someone has attained jhana, he suppresses the desires for the five senses. Desire for the five senses would be suppressed. So his birth will be given by a Rūpavachara karma. Eventually, that karma is not affected by these desires. So it doesn't produce ear and a nose, body and tongue sensitivities. It should have been that the eye and nose, ear sensitivities would also be lacking there, but the commentators say, since these two organs sensitivities are very useful for wholesome deeds, still they possess them. And personally I feel that still they have a desire to see the Brahmas and talk with the Brahmas who are of the same level, who have already suppressed the desire, suppressed the cravings. So they still have a desire to associate them, talk with them. Maybe that is another reason that they still possess these two sensitivities. But when it comes to the Arupa realm, they do not desire for any Rupa. So that's fundamentally, there's nothing to talk about any association, because they are wishing for a life without a Rupa. But in the Brahma realm, they don't have such a desire. They don't have such a wish to attain a life without Rupa, without Nama. They want a life without craving, which is not affected by craving, which is freed from sensual pleasures. Since these three senses are not supporting the sensual pleasure and are only for the sensual pleasures, they are lacking. But at the same time, even they lack the desires for sensuality, they still possess a desire to talk with the Brahmas, to discuss Dhamma with others. So since they have such a wish, it's not that the desire for seeing and desire for listening is fully suppressed, as the desires for tasting, smelling and touching has been suppressed. So therefore in the Brahma realms, we don't possess tongue sensitivity and nose sensitivity. And in the Kamavachara realm also, with the one who is born with a weak kusala, sometimes may lack the nose sensitivity, but not the tongue sensitivity. In the Kamavachara realm, every being possesses tongue sensitivity. That is a fundamental in the Theravada teachings. Then either it can be obstruction done by a akusala, as we talked last time, right? Even with the one who is born with a good kusala, but still, if he is obstructed by an akusala, yesterday we talked about the possibilities, how it can happen. So he may lack it. And this is kama avachara sugati. In the kama dugati, due to the nature of the akusala karma, born with the akusala karma that doesn't support. Now, if it's a sort of a weak karma, that he may not possess the Ghānappasāda. At the same time, obstructed by akusala. Obstruction of akusala. So all these are possible. All these are the occasions one may lack the Ghānappasāda. Then for the Jivhāppasāda also, during same for the Jivhāppasāda, one may lack it only on these occasions, not in the karma realm. Karma realm, every being means even in the Sugati or Dugati realms, they possess the Jivhāppasāda. Karma realm is for the sensual pleasures, and Jivhāppasāda seems to be something very relevant. Maybe it's because of the food that karma beings have to consume, and so maybe, I don't know, maybe even it's according to this explanation, even the mosquitoes do have Jivhāppasāda according to this explanation. Even the flies, the ants should have Jivhāppasāda. I don't know scientifically whether they have seen or whether they have gone into such explanations, whether the tongue or the ants possess a tongue or anything, because according to this fundamental of the Theravadians, every being in the karma realm should possess a Jivhāppasāda. And there are a few occasions, like in the present day, that scientists have found, doctors have found, that some people in the human realm do lack the sensitivity in the nose. This is called congenital anosmia. Congenital anosmia. Congenital anosmia means NOS. Anosmia. It is a disease due to which one would not have any sense of smell by birth. They don't feel the smell. And also it can be that it can happen to some while they are during their course of life, and also it can happen to them for a certain period. There are 3 ways that congenital anosmia is explained. It is a defect by birth, or if it can happen during the course of the life, so since that moment the person may not feel the smell, or someone can experience this during a certain period of time. For a certain period he may not be experiencing the smell. Then regarding the absence of Jivha, now congenital anosmia found in the karma realm is not contradicting with the teachings. If it is by birth, one may lack them. Then there is another disease or problem called lacking the tongue sensitivity. Actually, the lacking of tongue sensitivity is found normally when the person doesn't have the tongue. I don't know whether there are any case studies about a person who possesses the tongue but doesn't feel the taste. Maybe due to an accident or a cancer, it can happen. But by birth, if someone possesses the tongue, maybe it's that everyone should have the capacity to taste. But there are occasions in which the people are born without tongue, very few occasions. Since 1718 AD, there have been incidences, reports about, maybe it was found in the ancient world, the reports are found since 1718 that very few people in the world were born without a tongue. Very few people in the world were born without a tongue. So it seems like the Theravada commentary says that it is not possible a being who is born, karma realm being without the tongue sensitivity. So what happened? This is a disease called isolated congenital aglossia. Isolated, same congenital. Instead of anosmia, this is called aglossia. Isolated congenital aglossia. The beings were, some humans didn't possess any part of the tongue, and some had a very small tongue, right? Very small tongue, part of the tongue. But there have been a very nice experiment done, selecting these few people. They were given various types of wines to drink, various flavors. You can find this in the Sinhalese handout. I gave the reference, like there in the website. If you type this isolated congenital aglossia and find out the research work done on it, there's a very interesting paper, research paper mentioning that. When the experiment was done, it was a very it was a standard research. They complained, or they claimed, that they could differentiate the tastes of the various wines. They had no tongue at all, but still they could feel the taste. The suggestion was the taste buds were found at the area of the throat or at the top of the palatal, upper part of the palatal. Some information says even we do have these taste buds in these areas, sensitivities. If so, that we have to reconsider about the shape, because according to the commentary is located in the middle of the tongue. Middle of the tongue. But it's according to the findings, sensitivities are found not only at the tongue, also in some other places. But it's been concentrated, these taste buds are concentrated at the middle of the tongue. It is not to say that the taste buds are the sensitivities. It's not to say that the taste buds are sensitive. Sensitivity is sort of if I put it in today's words, is sort of a matter that is existing in taste buds and related areas. It's not to say that the taste buds and the Jivhāppasāda are equal, right? Surely Jivhāppasāda has to have should be located either on taste buds or some other parts that are related to this feeling of taste. If you consider this is with the modern findings. So the thing was, even the person didn't possess the jiva, the flesh tongue, still they could taste the flavors. So in that regard, still the commentarial statement is valid, because even with today's research done with the people who don't possess a tongue, still they could feel the taste. They could feel the taste. It means all the humans, seems like, who have been living till now, who had undergone a research or who had undergone these investigations, possess the Jivhāppasāda. Jivhāppasāda means they are sensitive to the tongue. So there was no being, unless it was removed or this area was completely damaged for some other reason, that is a different case. We are talking about someone not possessing the Jivhāppasāda by birth. By birth. So therefore, it seems like every human is sensitive to the taste. Every human is sensitive to the taste, even with the findings that we have today. And when these two sensitivities, the object has to come and strike at it. It's not like a far away object of color or sound making an impact on the sensitivity. It has to strike against it. Only then the sensitivity, the experience arises. So they are called sampattagahi. The eye and ear cause the impact physically being distant from the sensitivity. But nose and tongue, in order to get an experience, the respective smell and the taste has to come and strikes at it. So if you are smelling something very bad, think about excrement, please know that excrement particles are inside your nose, right? So that's the reality. So because whatever is fumed by it is found in it has to come and strike at our nose, right? So that's another way to think. So it doesn't mean it not encouraging not to go to the washrooms, toilets, but that's the reality. It also shows that karma realm is not a good place to live in terms of spirituality. Anyway, so then these are the few points that I would like to emphasize today, and also I will also drag your attention towards some philosophical aspects about this kammaja, how the kammaja rūpa is being, how the craving is affecting the kammaja rūpa. So I think I have discussed this once in a lecture. In a coming lecture, I will be taking an entire day to explain this phenomenon. Kamma, according to the Theravada teachings, kammaja rūpas in one life can be produced by various karmas. At the same time, it can also be produced by the same karma which gave the patisana. That is also possible. It's also possible, especially when the upapatikas are born. It seems like I cannot give a guaranteed conclusion on this, because there are some teachings that are contradicting to that statement. I will be discussing them in a separate lecture. So it seems like when upapatika, spontaneous born being is born, all the kammaja rūpas arise at the moment of birth. It seems like they are produced. It can happen that all the kammaja rūpas are produced by the kamma that gave the rebirth. Now, and even in us, even though the eye, ear, nose, tongue sensitivities arise at a later stage, still it is possible that they are produced by the same karma that gave the rebirth. Possibility is there. Now think about the same karma. If the same karma has given all these sensitivities, eye sensitivity, Ghānappasāda, Sotappasāda, Ghānappasāda, Jivhāppasāda, then Kāyappasāda, Hadevattu, for instance. Now the same now these pasadas and these vattus have different functions. So it is also, we understand that in order to get a diversity in the effect, we have to have a different cause. If everything is produced by the same cause, if everything is produced without a cause, there cannot be any diversity. That is a very strong philosophical claim made by the Theravadians in order to justify the effects of karma. Why different beings have different appearances, traits? Because they are born out of various karmas. We are born out of various karmas. If everything effects happen out of a nothing, out of a sudden, out of any, not out of any cause, all the effects, effect 1, effect 2 should be equal, should be the same. This is the argument of the Theravadians. And if effect 1 arises from cause 1, and if the effect 2 arising from cause 2, these are not equal. These effects are not equal because they have been produced by different causes. If effects happen without any cause, then it seems all the effects has to be equal. That is the argument. If cause 1 produces effect 1 and effect 2, seems like they have to be equal because they are produced by the same cause. Unless there are some other conditions. Unless there are some other conditions. For instance, you can easily argue on this. One kamavachara kusala kamma can produce, tihetuka kamavachara kusala kamma can produce 16 types of vipaka consciousness. While rupavachara kusala can produce a vipaka of its own similar identity, similar to it, like a mirror image. But the kamavachara kusala can produce various vipakas depending on certain conditions. It depends on the birth, it depends on the, for instance, where the consciousness arises. Even the tihetuka kamavachara kusala is giving vipaka if the vipaka chitta is arising at the chakku vijnana place. It can never be sahetuka. So likewise, normally the idea is if they arise, the effects are arising with the same cause, due to the same cause, they have to be identical. Unless there are some other causes affecting that, some other phenomenon affecting this. That is why even two newly born babies, together twins, would have different characteristics because they are born with two different karmas. That is the argument that we bring. This is very effective, like especially explained in the Kanka Vitarana Vishuddhi. So when we are going to overcome the doubt, this is one of the few arguments that we bring forth. Now in this phenomenon, now think, this phenomenon, it is possible that the karma, the same karma, produces 6 types of Rūpa, even the Bhava Rūpa can be included here, 6 types of Rūpa of different functions. Chakkuppasāda is sensitive to the eye. Sotappasāda is sensitive to the ear, sound. Chakkuppasāda is sensitive to the color. Ghānappasāda is sensitive to the smell. And they have different functions. Similarly, they have a similarity of being a base for the relative sense consciousness and being sensitive to the relative sense object. That's a different case. But they are obviously different from each other. So the question is asked, why the same karma, how could the same karma give drastically different karma? So why the same karma could give rupas that are of different natures? That is one argument that is discussed in the sub-commentaries. But one can easily dismiss this argument but by saying the same tihetuka kusala kamma can produce 16 types of vipaka consciousness. 16 types of various vipaka consciousness with various functions. That is mainly, one reason is it's quite weak than compared to the Rūpavachara, Arūpavachara kammas. So since it is weaker, it produces various results instead of producing a identical vipaka. Then another reason is these consciousness, the places where they arise, their functions, they are also determined by another phenomenon. So some other causes are affecting here, not only this particular cause. So therefore, we have various types of consciousness arising out of the same karma. So same thing can be applied here. One would say the location of Ghānappasāda, Sotappasāda, the phenomenon are affecting. So even though the same karma is giving result, producing them, they may possess different characteristics. There is another way of explaining this, because there is an analogy, because the Tihetuka Kusala Kamma can produce 16 types of different consciousness. But there is a different explanation for this. That's what I want to emphasize. While mentioning that, there can be an alternative explanation if we think about compared to the vipaka of the kusala. What the sub-commentators are saying, this karma is affected by various types of craving. Eventually it's craving, but we know that there are various types of craving. Craving to see, craving to hear, craving to smell, craving to taste, craving to touch, craving to think. Craving to think. These are the various types of cravings that we possess. So this karma is affected by various types of cravings. At the same time, they affect. Now this karma was done, for example, if this was a karma of offering a dana to an arahant, and that karma gave a glorious life, complete with all the sense organs, sensitivities. So it was done they're done once. At that time, the person possessed all the cravings unsubdued. He possessed the cravings. And these cravings affect this karma all at the same time. It means this karma has various capacities affected by, for example, 1 to 6. So this karma has various capacities here. So based on, since it has a multiple capacity. Now in Sri Lanka, for example, every minister has his own ministry, but at the same time, president has the power to work on any ministry. He can take the ministry to himself and also execute the powers of these ministries, because he possesses the entire capacity. Right? It's going to be changed in future, but at the moment he possesses the entire capacity. So if he wants, he can take all the ministries under his control and perform his duties according to the ministry. So likewise, the karma which has been affected by all these has a multi capacity. Therefore, this karma is capable, instead of all these capacities coming together and producing one result, the karma is capable of producing various results or kammaja rupas with different characteristics. Why the characteristics were different? Because the karma is being affected by different causes. So it possessed certain different, it is influenced by various cravings, so it is capable of producing various kammaja rupas with different traits. So that is the example that they have given. Because though all the kammaja rupas are produced by the same cause, instead of becoming identical effects, they are diverse in their nature. Why is that? The same cause which produced them are being affected by various types of cravings. Various types of cravings. Though we make a formula, a craving, type of craving, affecting the karma, producing the kammaja rupa, right? So this is affecting, two arrows, affecting. Though we mention it in this way, that is not to say that there was a karma affected by craving to see and another karma affected by craving to hear. No. They are being affected at the same time. the karma is affected by all the cravings at the same time. So the karma has a wide range of capacity, and due to that, the relevant respective sensitivity arises in the respective location in order to satisfy the craving. Right? That is also one thing that I would like to emphasize upon. Yeah. So this shows that all the sensitivities that we possess are products of karma affected by craving, and this also gives us the understanding of cause and effect here. So today's lecture I would conclude. We first discuss about the formula, then simulate like we were able to easily explain them together. Ghānappasāda and Jivhāppasāda, the sensitivities on the nose and the tongue. Then the kalapas in which they arise, they are generations. So no sensitivity have two types of generations, but they are collectively taken as one, and they are produced by the same karma. Then there are occasions in which one may lack nose sensitivity and tongue sensitivity, especially in asanya satta arupa realm and rupa brahmas, rupi brahma realms. But in the karma realm, some may lack the nose sensitivity, but jiva sensitivity is said to be possessed by every being. Then we also discussed about some modern findings, and then we went into explain how the same karma could produce karmaja rupas of diverse nature, and it opened us for the understanding about the cause and effect, how it is affecting us. Yeah, I'll conclude the lecture and give the opportunity to go for the Q&A.
May I ask my question, Your Reverend?
Yes, Mr. Khan.
Before asking question, the only part of God's food is called hoop.
How do you?
H-O-O-F.
F, hoof.
H-O-O-F.
H-O-O-F, hoof. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hoof.
And my question is, some people get their taste buds capacity weakened by habitually chewing betel. Is it due to as a consequence of a previous unwholesome deed?
No. This is due to the lack of, it's due to misbehavior. Sometimes we may lose our eye because of our negligence, carelessness. So those are not attributed to the past karmas. In some occasions, yes, sometimes due to influence of a past karma, we may remove our eye by ourselves. So some may come and attack us, and we may lose our sight. Possibilities are there, but for instance, if someone gets cirrhosis for excessive drinking alcohol, that is not an effect of his past karma. That is a result of his own bad action. So in that case, it's not that he's losing the jivha sensitivity by eating beetles. It's been affected. Maybe it's the quality of the jivha sensitivity is lessening by the effects of the chewing of beetle. That essence of food is affecting it. Maybe it's too strong.
Clear. Thank you. Theravāda Saranai.
Theravāda
Saranai. Thank you.
Theravāda Saranai. May I have question, sir?
Yes.
My question is really about the sensitivity of, probably it applies to all the organs. Now, when a particular object comes across for the first time, there is very heavy attachment. There is either it could be a heavy delightness or a heavy repulsion that occurs. This is especially true with taste and smell. First time when you come across, the intensity is felt strongly, but subsequently there is a habit sort of forming, or you get used to it, and then there can be a situation you don't even feel it strong anymore. How do we explain this particular phenomena according to Dhamma? Is my really question.
Yes, thank you for that question. Yes, regarding this phenomenon of adaptation, we don't have a specific explanation particularly given on this topic. Especially we can see this adaptation and familiarity, getting used to this in terms of smell. There is an occasion, like even if we are staying in a certain room that has a certain fume or smell or scent, after some time we may not feel it. Even someone comes out from outside, when someone comes from outside, he will surely feel the smell or the scent, but the ones who have lived here for some time and who have got adapted to that may not feel it. Even purposefully making effort, we still cannot feel it. That's the nature of smell. But taste, yeah, there is some sort of we may get familiar to it, and we have a less intensity when we kept on eating the same food for a while. Maybe that is our mind is used for that. The same thing happens. A very beautiful object is seen with eyes, and the attraction loses after some time. Same thing can happen with the voices and also with the touch. That seems to be that our mind is adapting to getting used to the sense object, and we may feel it as it's not very intense. One reason can be our mind is used to that, and another reason can be there is some sort of phenomenon occurring in the sensitivity. I'm not sure how to explain that. But this smell, the adaptation to the smell, that we becoming not sensitive to the smell is something very strange. Because now think about a person who is living near a highway. After some time, he doesn't hear the sounds while he's focused on some other activity. If someone is living close to an airport or to a railway road, after living there for some time, you get used to the sounds and you don't even hear while the train or plane is traveling. But if you attentively give your attention, pay your attention, you will be able to hear it or you will be able to feel it. But regarding the smell, even after we have got used to the smell, even with full attention, we are not able to feel it. That's a very strange phenomenon. To be true, we don't have a specific explanation. I haven't come across any specific explanation regarding why this phenomenon is happening with regard to the tongue, with regard to the smell, nose sensitivity. Two possible explanations regarding the other sensitivities. Our mind is getting used to that, so because of the familiarity, the mind may not feel the intensity, though the intensity of the object is the same. Other possible thing is some sort of adaptation is happening in the sensitivity, which is very unlikely in the Dhamma perspective. But regarding the smell, even with the Dhamma perspective, I am unable to explain why that phenomenon is happening, because even with full attention, you still cannot feel the smell.
On the same subject, one more comment I would like to make is actually even about the human body odor, and especially the smells of various other effluents you put out. The same human being does not feel the strength same way like another person, because your own foul smells are not really felt by that person himself. Only another person will be able to tell you either your mouth is smelling bad or your sweat smell is terrible or whatever. So that's is it due to the mind getting adjusted, or is it again according to your doctrine of necessity for existence, you need that?
That is also a possibility. The doctrine of necessity can be working there, and also it can be felt like when we go to the toilet, the passing of stools, the people, and also the smells of farts. It's not felt like our own smells are not that much disturbing to us. That much not disturbing, and also some may enjoy it. Sometimes it is felt. Some may enjoy these foul smells of their while they are passing their stools. So because of the relaxation that you feel with it, and you have got used to that. So another one of the monks used to explain that it is a very enlightening opinion that he gave me while I was in Thailand, that he said that is also it shows the phenomenon of attachment to our own selves. So even in the foul smells that we fume with from our bodies, we are still attached to them because that sense of I-ness is there. Is it because I don't know whether our noses have got used to our own smells? Because sometimes we know when we are passing stools that can have various types of different smells according to the food that we have eaten. But we easily, very, very quickly, in the beginning we may feel it different. It can be even hard for us, but we get adapt to it very quickly. Maybe the phenomenon of self-attachment is working there. One reason. And when we think about the doctrine of necessity, yes, it's another thing that it may be required for us to sustain, because otherwise we will be getting adversity about our own selves. Adversity means the resentment or disliking towards our own self, and this would not help for the samsara to continue, because if we start to feel bad about our own body and we are not able to bear that smell of our own body, that is not supportive. But if for instance, another thing is, now think about a wound that happens in our body which has rotten or which has gone into extreme levels of and which is fuming very bad smell. It's a very new smell for us, but we'll get adapt to it very quickly. But if the same smell is fuming from someone else's body, if we are staying closer, we will have a hell of a time to get adapt to that. So it shows that if you think very closely, what my friend suggested makes sense, because it appears to us as someone else's. It appears as someone else's. But think about a mother taking care of a child. She would not feel it. She would not feel that bad smell, and she would not push him away like we do for some other person, for some other stranger. So I think the element of attachment is also playing a huge role here in accepting the smells of our own bodies and of our beloved ones. Then it also, as you pointed out, a new insight, like is it necessary for the doctrine of necessity? That also makes sense. I cannot give an exact solid answer because I haven't given my thought on it to it. So it is also, that also can make sense, because if we are getting, if we are quite comfortable with our own foul smells, that is also very useful for us to get attached to our existence. So the thing is, the same foul smell, the same intense foul smell, if it is coming from someone else and coming from ourselves, we would react differently. We would, even if our smell is much more intense than the other person, still we would be having discomforts with the other one's smell rather than our own smell. So therefore, then in the terms of evolution, like evolution, it is connected to the doctrine of necessity. Maybe that was necessary for us to sustain that adaptation. Then now another question is, now if we were given few foul smells that we would not be able to recognize whether it comes from us or not. I don't know whether there is any such research has been done. If we were exposed to a foul smell that is fumed from our own body due to our own stools or anything, and someone else's, if we were mixed and we were asked to smell it, do we still able to get used to that even while we are not aware whose smell is this? That's another very nice research if someone can do. I don't know whether someone has conducted this. So if in such difficult circumstances to judge, if we still get adapted to our own smell automatically, then it seems that there is sort of unconscious relationship with our own smell and our consciousness and our sensitivities. But I don't think that would be possible. I think the knowing factor that these smells come from our own body, even though we are not deliberately giving thought to it, but we know it, that when we are in the toilets, when the person has farted, so it knows that it comes from our own body. So that knowing, we cannot ignore that. Maybe that is the reason that we are very quickly adapted to that smell. It's a very good point. Thank you for pointing out, and I'll also give some thought to it. That would be my explanation.
Yes, if I am permitted to make one more comment.
Yes.
That's really more to do with the engineering, I know, because measuring instruments make an absolute measurement. That's how we use measuring instruments in engineering and for control. But this sensitivity of these sense organs are not really working in that manner. It may be physically, it may be making absolute measurement, and it may be dependent on the karma, which is causing those existence of those sense organs. But leaving that apart, there is another aspect of mental attitude, which comes in the form of either attachment or detachment or whatever, which causes this level of intensity being felt differently for the same response, same stimuli. The same stimuli can be judged in different ways, with different measures and different meterings at different instances. If I make such a theory proposal, will that have any validity?
Yes, it do have validity. When I was listening to you carefully, yes, it makes very good sense. It makes more sense. Yes, and also we have to keep in mind that there are some people who are considered as super tasters. I think.
Tasters.
Yeah, so they taste much stronger than the other beings. I think 20% of the world, or there's a very high number, because they will be having difficulties in tasting wine and so forth, because the intensity they feel is much higher than the normal beings, normal humans. So there is an effect, as you said, caused by the karma. Now some have very sharp eyesight. It is mentioned that the Bodhisattva possessed a very, very sharp eyesight, that he could even see in the dark, in the darkness. Maybe it's due to his karma, or I don't know how to explain the phenomenon, how it happens, but it is said that he could see. He had a very sharp, strong, penetrating eyesight due to the good karmas that he had done in samsara, and it's not a surprise that he would have possessed a very sharp one. And also because I also know one of my brother's friends actually, who could read boards that we were no way at all we could read that far, but he could easily read them. He had a very super eyesight. And some are very sensitive to the color, because recently I shared with my friends a sort of color distinguishing, that some were able to, surprisingly one was able to distinguish all 10 out of 10. That's very similar colors, but very slight changes. So they claim that they are very sensitive to the color. So likewise, the sensitivity itself can have high capacities due to the karma, or due to other various reasons, or maybe the food that we partake. And also, as you said, the consciousness, the attitude of the consciousness, the state of the consciousness is also very valid. Now, while we are in sleep, sometimes we don't feel mosquitoes biting us. When we are well focused on some other activity, even someone calls us, we don't feel it. And but when we give the attention to some particular object, we'll be able to feel it very, very strongly and very clearly. And if we are in a sorrow mood, for instance, even given if in a moment that some of our beloved ones have passed away, even someone gives the best food in the world, we'll not feel it. Will not feel the intensity. So the level of our mind, the attitudes that we have, and also sometimes we also get the feeling that the food that tasted very tastily at our younger ages would taste lesser differently when we grow up. Maybe that's the differences in our sensitivity with the growth. Likewise, there can be various reasons. The mind element does play a huge role in the way thing is felt. The thing is felt. So yes, that has more strong validity. What you have claimed.
Then I have the last question where I don't need the answer now. That's really regarding the bodhisattvas, and I also have read and heard that there were certain Asuma Shravaka
great disciples.
Type of 80 great disciples. Some of them, when they were born, when the moment they were conceived in the mother's womb, they are fully aware of what is happening. They are full of sati and sampajanya. For that to happen, some kind of sense organs have to work. So if you can find it out and research it out and tell us what is the abhidharmic explanation to that kind of existence, I would be very grateful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, actually I can give you a short answer for this. It's not the Asuma Shravakas that have been explained in this regard. It's there are 4 occasions that a normal being would lose its mindfulness. The moment we are dying from a certain life, and the moment we get conceived in the mother's womb, and moment we are getting out of the womb, the moment we are born, and yes, the moment of death, moment of conceiving, and the period during which we stay in the mother's womb, the third period, and the moment we are getting out of the womb. So it is said that the Mahabodhisattvas in their last life are very mindful. Mindful means they know that they are while they are dying, they know while they have been conceived, not on the Patisandhi moment, but in the surrounding moments, they know that they have got conceived in a certain place and in a womb, and they know while they are in the womb, and they know while they are coming out of the womb. They are aware of this, what is happening. All the other beings are fully unaware of the happening. So how does this happen? It's something very difficult to explain, as you said. In the moment they have been conceived in the womb, they only possesses mind do and the body do. So maybe due to their strong intelligence, and also they knew that they will be from the previous life, mostly they are born as devas. The Bodhisattva was a deva, and when they are born in the human realm, maybe the past memory of knowing that he'll be in a mother's womb, maybe he's aware about it. Then during the period that he is growing in the womb, he knows that where I am. It doesn't mean that he's in the Kusala Chitta all the time. It's that he knows where he is. He's in a mother's womb. Maybe it's because of the awareness he had in the previous life. And while he's getting out, he knows he's getting out because he doesn't go hardship like we do. Then for the Pacceka Bodhisattvas in their last life, except the last period, the moment he's getting out of the womb, all the 3 occasions he's mindful, means he knows where he is. And the true chief disciples, not the great disciples, chief disciples, Aggasavakas, who are born as humans having died from a divine realm, knows what is happening to them at the moment of their death and while immediately after they have conceived. While they are in the womb and while they are coming out, they cannot have a proper idea what is happening to them. So it is not mentioned about the chief disciples, if my memory was correct. It was about great disciples. It was about the chief disciples. Maybe I have to go through again. This is what our Mahathera once taught us. Maybe for the great disciples also, 1 or 2 occasions they will be mindful. That is possible. So now we have to add the element that Pacceka Bodhisattvas mostly, not I cannot guarantee that it happens always. Most of the cases, they are born in the human realm after dying from a divine realm. But I remember there are occasions that they were born as having died from the human realm and born as a human. If I remember, there is a story about a Pacceka Bodhisattva who became a lady in the previous life. So so maybe the element of if he is dying from a Deva realm, maybe he knows that he is dying and he will be born in the mother's womb. So that awareness that he had would be helpful for him to understand where he is. Maybe he is guessing what is happening to him. Or maybe due to their strong wisdom that has been accumulated, they are able to recognize the place they are born into. And while they are growing, even though the senses are not working well, if the person is so smart, I would say so powerful a being like a Pacceka Bodhisattva or Mahabodhisattva, maybe is still able to recognize, think that he is in the womb. Maybe it's, I don't know whether it's a pleasant experience or not. And Bodhisattva is said to be observing, observing means it is said that he stays in the womb in the meditation posture, but according to the modern explanations, our head is located in the pelvis region of the mother. So, and normally that's why the head comes first, right? But the Bodhisattva's life is being explained in with some special attributes. So it says that he stays in the womb like a gem in a casket. So these are the things that I'm unable to explain with the modern findings. But even though they are lacking. So it says that he's observing. Observing means he's well aware. So I don't know how could because in the womb we know that you cannot open your eyes. They will get burnt if you open them. You cannot hear. Maybe the person may be hearing inside. It says that because the sound waves can come scientifically, but smell and taste, I'm not sure whether there is a possibility of the child getting such feelings. Maybe taste is possible because the liquid can go in and he may feel some taste. So one reason is their past developed mind is capable to recognize even under such adverse conditions. And also we have to keep in mind, if they were very mindful, they knew that they will die and be born as a human being, that memory is not lost immediately. So that is also helpful for them to have an idea where they are.
Thank you very much. Much merits to you, Swami's answer.
Theravada. Okay, seems no questions, right? So we'll conclude the class. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and we have now already done 5 out of 6 Vatrupas, and the next lecture would be about Ghānappasāda and additionally Pottabha Rupa, because we haven't focused on it separately. So with this merit, may all of us be able to understand the Dhamma and attain the liberation soon, and may this help to sustain the Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.